everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Film for Thought. I'm your host, Michael Lardizabal. I'm joined here today by Maya, CJ, and Jiro once more.
Hello, hello, hello.
You got CJ?
What's in, you know?
What's up, Jiro?
Well,
You know, just to somewhere.
It's gay! No.
All right.
Always.
So, keeping on the same topic as the last episode that we definitely filmed last week and not 20 minutes ago.
Not at all.
Not at all.
20 minutes.
I'd like to say to everybody, Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
What
Thanksgiving.
y'all
Gobble,
ate?
gobble.
If it's not
Gobble,
sweet
gobble.
potatoes, you're doing it wrong.
If you throw away the bell peppers after you eat the stuffed bell pepper, you're fucking trash.
You are
Always
trash.
remember you can save all your leftovers and give it to the homeless.
Cut it into slivers and eat it slice by slice. little bit of
Way to
stuff
make
in.
charity condescending, Hero. Only you, man.
Only Hero has that art. Well, keeping in topic with the
This was a great start.
all right, that's a great start. Keeping in topic with the last episode, we're discussing subscription service originals, and in the last episode we were discussing particular Hulu and Netflix, and on this episode we're gonna go more into depth into our new lovely streaming service Disney Plus and HBO slash a little bit
Just
of
a
Amazon
tad,
Prime,
yeah.
just like I'll sprinkle that.
Do you want to go just like right in order? Start off with the Disney
We don't have to
Plus.
go in order if you don't want to.
We do
I'm
Disney
fine
Plus
with
or
it.
HBO.
All right. So for Disney Plus, we by this time, what do you think? Like episode 4 of The Mandalorian is gonna be out?
It's out
Yeah.
today.
It's
No,
actually-
episode 3 is out today.
Yeah. So episode 4 will be out.
All right. So
next
Yeah.
did everybody get a chance to see the first episode of Mandalorian?
I did, yeah.
Maya.
Yes.
week. You fucking lying.
No, I did see it.
Okay.
All right. So what do you guys think of The Mandalorian?
For
I've only
one,
seen episode 1. Go
I
ahead.
really enjoy The Mandalorian. Yeah, it's really cool. I
I
like
feel
it.
like it has a fuck ton of money in it.
It
You
has
know what I
so
love
much
about it?
money.
Yeah.
They
like,
have
I've
so
seen it.
much money, and they're not using
Oh, no.
CGI as much as I thought they would.
No, they're
no,
not.
They're using like puppets
Practical
again.
effects, $10 million.
Like
That's what I read.
It's what I like
$10
to
million an
hear.
episode.
Is what, yeah, and
That's
all going
astounding.
into practical effects.
Oh no! Like, and they're
I love
using
it.
that money.
The
No, I love to see it.
The scene in which the dude, the Mandalorian, he gets the credit from the guy for retrieving, like
The blue thing.
the down payment, the little cube of metal.
Oh, yeah.
And then it gets like
Schmelted.
Melted down.
smelted into a.
Yeah, they actually schmelted
this
that.
whole,
like
pad?
a shoulder pad. Yeah, like I think that is probably a really important part of the episode, and it's done using like all practical effects. I think probably the only part of that was not practical effects was the actual like future like laser forge that they had going on, but everything else was like pretty. You could like feel the weight in all the objects, and I really like that. Like sometimes with CGI, you like can't feel the weight.
I agree.
I just think that's like opening up a.
They really are doing the Star Wars like thing, like series, just justice again. Like I really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, they definitely
it's a
learned
good
from
direction.
the prequels.
Has like that
Remember-
nice Western feel too. Like
It's definitely gonna be like a Western type, like him traveling the
yeah,
universe.
he's like a bounty
collecting-
hunter, you know.
I think he's just like one of the main pieces of the story is gonna be him like collecting like back that Mandalorian.
All right, just to be
identity.
completely honest, I don't know that much about Star Wars to be completely fair.
The
Wait, what?
Mandalorians.
I don't
not
mean
seen all of them?
No, I've seen all of them. I just don't know. Like, I feel like there's a lot more to know than just the movies. You know what I mean?
Well, then for somebody like you, I'd say like watch it. Like watch this show.
I'm just
and
like
let it
watching the show, and like
unfold
I'm
for
just
you.
astounded. Like, I know they have like a massive budget. That's why I wanted to bring that up. But I feel like they're definitely using it.
No, they are. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's not like, you know, the recent trilogy where it's just like there's a
Like,
lot of
there's
money
just-
in this, but it's not really like cohesive.
Like, it's like
It looks good, but that's about it.
It looks great.
it looks pretty,
No,
but
it
like,
never doesn't look good. It looks so good all the time.
But
It feels
that's
good
it.
to watch.
What?
It feels good to watch.
Yeah.
Like just it feels nostalgic.
But it's nothing new.
Exactly.
That's why it's so
Nothing new.
good.
It doesn't have to be like
It doesn't have
Mandalorian
to
doesn't
be.
have
You
to
don't
be
want
new.
anything new.
I don't want anything new.
No.
You don't want
Star
it.
Wars, fuck that. I want to hear. I want them to progress the story instead of rehashing old ones with a new skin.
Okay, but the Mandalorian story is about the past.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the new trilogy. We're talking about the Mandalorian.
We're talking about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking
I'm
about the new
completely
trilogies,
cool.
too.
I'm so sorry.
No, we
yeah.
moved on from that.
Oh, whoops.
We-
I was with you.
Me-
Okay.
Yeah,
Me and
okay,
Hero-
I wasn't the only one that was lost.
No,
No,
me-
Mandalorian's great. I'm with you on that.
I just don't know where. Like, I've only seen the first episode, so and I have like some knowledge of Star Wars canon, but I would really like to see them pull something out of the hat that is, out there really far.
Like, I like the
It just
which
seems
was
small.
the one between episode 3 and 4 they made recently.
Is it Solo or Rogue One?
Rogue One. I really liked Rogue One.
Rogue One was the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, like the standalone.
It's like I really like that they killed everybody in there. Like it just
Ballsy move. I agree.
I was like that was a real.
Please
We
silence all
interrupt this
phones on the
program.
fucking studio.
Sorry, I'm so
Lardizabal.
sorry.
Beep.
So sorry.
Can we insert a beep there?
Um
That'd be really funny.
Can we insert,
I'm
like, a
so
TIE
sorry.
fighter
It's so
screech?
inappropriate.
No.
Sorry, Monica.
our
So I guess
our producer's
like,
locked out. All right. Thank you so much.
The Mandalorian, I'd like to see where it goes. I'd like to see how much they actually pull out of the like depths of the Star Wars lore and what they choose to actually make canon and the decisions that they make going forward, because my understanding is that we will get a lot of Star Wars television shows in the next 5 years.
We're getting Obi-Wan next. I
Like,
think.
we're gonna get Obi-Wan at least some point in the next year. We're gonna get another, hopefully, like I'd like to see a Old Republic show.
That'd be really dope.
Really old and like.
Are some extras leaving because she has to go? See you later, Deej.
I just think it's like it's a testing ground, and if they do less is more in the Mandalorian, they'll have more later.
Yeah.
Like, they just need to establish that they can do it right, and then people will follow them. So I think they're starting off well. I think the concept of like the masked bounty hunter is like a Star Wars trope that people are always gonna want to see, because like
Yo, ever since Boba Fett.
it's kind of like just the struggle life of the Star Wars universe, and like people resonate with that. So I'm just excited. I think it's cool. Like, in the second episode, I saw like a teaser for it.
Wait, I have a question. How much have you read about the show? Like, I really want to know if the Baby Yoda was like CGI or was a practical effect.
I think the Baby Yoda is definitely CGI.
I want to say so too.
It's CGI. It looks
Which
like
is weird.
Because like,
What's the matter?
Because there were puppets. You did see real, actual puppets.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love it.
no, yeah, I feel like it just gives the movie more of its like iconic vibe. You know what I
It
mean?
does.
it really
Did you
does.
see that part where they were like twirling this alien over a fire, and then the alien that looked like it was in a cage, and you could tell it was a puppet, but I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
So, I guess the Mandalorian takes place between episodes 3 and 4.
Oh,
which
damn.
I told you it could
I
not have
wa-
been before all the movies.
I was saying it was
I also-
before the
I-
trilogy.
I really thought it was before
5,
all the
6,
movies.
7.
Oh yeah,
It makes a lot of it takes place between it takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So
Okay,
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
So
Or like 3 and.
it's taking place after the
original trilogy,
original trilogy,
but before the new one.
before the new one. Which,
All right,
to me, leads me into believing that that's the time frame they're trying to focus on, because they're trying to work themselves out of an issue that they created revolving around the future of the Force in the Star Wars universe as it is in the movies.
What do you mean?
They've created like one canon avenue that it can go, and that is who is Rey, what is Rey's relationship to the Force, and how does she relate back to the Skywalker lineage and the Skywalker prophecy. And if they're trying to like build out that time frame and trying to represent the fact that there are people in the universe that are still Force sensitive that could have like some kind of effect, say maybe 300 years in the future when it's the New Republic, like if that's what they're going for,
Oh, you basically think they're like trying to unwrite themselves in the corner?
I think they're trying to unwrite themselves into a corner by like Baby Yoda is
That is a good point.
confirmed Force user in the show now.
So baby,
Like
Wait, so
Oh,
is
so
Baby
is it-
Yoda Yoda? Or is
No.
it like, oh, it's
Yoda's
not?
dead.
Okay.
that's what I was-
Okay, that's why I was confused about the
okay.
timeline because I
Yeah.
thought Yoda, like Baby Yoda, was baby. That's why I thought it took
He's
place
just
way
he's just
before.
What is Yoda's race called? Do we know what
Yoda's
alien he
race
is?
is really special. They live for 1,000 years, and they're all force.
Is that why they said he's like 50 years old?
He's 50? Yeah. No.
But he's like a little baby.
Baby Yoda is 50 years old.
You want gummy?
Return of the Jedi,
I gotta.
So-
Damn. Huh. Makes you
just
wonder why
think
we
that-
haven't heard about this Yoda character in the new trilogy. Do we have to assume that he's dead or goes? Is he gonna go be a hermit on Dagobah?
No, I
like
just
Yoda?
think like there are more important things happening than the trilogy that is being like.
I agree with that.
Like Disney Plus has plans for the fact that they spent $4.7 billion on Star Wars, and they're like, we're gonna use it for something.
Yeah,
I wonder where they're going with this.
I really would like them to take it outside of like the
Yeah,
The-
linear.
I feel
line.
like they like. I
think we'll
honestly
see
do we know for sure that the Mandalorian is like between those
That's what it
episodes?
says right now. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
if that is the case, well, I feel like it's a good way to write themselves on like out of the corner,
yeah.
and like I just
So-
the show just looks good. Like it has a movie
No, it
based
looks
quality.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
It has like the length of a movie too. Pretty
Yeah.
much. A little less than it's like
Star
half
Wars
a
has
movie.
always looked like amazing.
Yeah, they do have like a stellar production value.
No, they do.
I mean, some would argue that the prequels didn't look too good because of the whole CGI thing.
I love Phantom Menace. I don't want to fucking hear it. That was
I don't
really
think that they looked bad. I
No,
honestly
they
like
don't
the
look
lightsaber
bad.
fights from those compared to the original trilogy.
no, they don't look bad. It's just that at the time, like CGI was new, and people were like, "Yo, like the puppets is like where it's at, and like the real, like what is this? This is like computer shit. This is weird."
Talking about production value.
Apparently, the internet thinks Baby Yoda is an illicit love child, but I don't agree.
Alyssa
Alyssa Love Child with who?
Yoda and Yaddle.
All
fuck
right.
is Yaddle.
That shit, the female version of Yoda who is on the council in Phantom Menace. Anyway, y'all want to talk about the...
That makes
But that means Yoda's a fucking hypocrite because Jedi's can't have kids.
Too bad.
Illicit.
maybe they're not. He's not as good as he seemed.
They made him out to be like this little like
So actually, I kind of,
mean person.
I kind of want to talk about this because CJ and I have very different opinions.
The 4K shit.
The 4K render. First of
Oh,
all,
the 4K
as
render.
viewers, I want to know what y'all think. Fuck CJ's opinion. I want to know what.
You have to say
Hey,
what your opinion
just
is. They
just
have no idea
for
what
just
you're
for
talking about.
just
We
for
just said
the
the
words for
4K
everybody.
thing.
Fuck CJ's opinion.
Fuck
CJ's opinion
CJ.
has never mattered to a single person in this room.
And this is true.
All right,
What-
so I got Disney Plus yesterday,
Okay.
and by yesterday
You mean yesterday?
I mean yesterday.
Yes.
By yesterday,
Last
I
night,
got it today,
11:59.
actually 4 hours ago, so and I've already seen more than all of them.
I think he's not lying.
Yeah, he really is
I
lying.
am actually taking shots because I sat in my room and spent 25 minutes trying to get the internet to work so I could get Disney Plus and watch the first episode of The Mandalorian. And,
Funny how you
Hey,
went from
everybody,
episode
claps for
one-
Hero for being.
No, don't give Hero props.
Hey,
This
you know,
motherfucker watched
this-
one episode of Mandalorian and watched 2 episodes of High School Musical.
I watched
Where are
one
his
episode-
priorities really
I
lying
watched
here?
one episode of High School Musical.
You said you watched
instead
2 episodes of High School Musical.
Instead
You
of
said 2.
editing my project, so where do my priorities lie?
In the fucking trash, apparently. If
Listen,
that's how you do
If I
it.
don't graduate college, just know that I knew today that it wasn't going to happen.
Professor Robert, shout out to Professor Robert Racine.
Robbie Racine.
Why are we shouting it out? What the fuck does he have to do with him?
If Robert
Fuck,
Racine doesn't give me
Um,
an A+, I will pack my bags and move back
We
to
all
Massachusetts.
decided to watch Disney Plus instead of editing that 321 project.
Just so you know, Professor, I sacrificed something for the greater good.
Professor, my name is Maya Lewis. I absolutely edited my 3 but I
my
did not
name
do
is-
exercise 5.
I didn't
My
do
name is
exercise by
CJ,
the
and I did not do my 321 project.
I
Yeah,
also-
she sounds so much like me.
I also
My
love
name
my
is CJ,
sister.
and I made the bad decision of working with
All right.
Our viewers have no idea.
I want to
what's
get back
happening.
into it.
Yeah.
So,
So-
Actually,
Just
yeah.
cut this out.
4K
So-
render.
Yes, back to the 4K render.
So I was watching
My teeth
trying to
hurt.
watching like different cartoons they had for Marvel last night, and I was getting like all giddy because I was like really cool cartoons that like haven't been out of the vault in like years and like couldn't
these
find them anywhere.
cartoons
Talk
are
about
out of the
X-Men
vault.
and Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was X-Men.
Which Spider-Man are you watching?
I haven't started watching Spider-Man. I just saw they had everything, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah, it's on my
Ah.
list.
that's
too.
gonna be cool. But I just saw that they had the X-Men 90s. From
The
90s.
anime looking one.
These.
I mean, there's only
It's
like
not
one
that
X-Men.
anime. Look, it looks more cartoonish than it does anime. I don't know if we're talking about the same one.
I'll look at it because I don't really know if I look
They
at
have the old Fantastic Four series that does look like anime.
I didn't even know there was a Fantastic Four
Dude,
series.
there's everything.
it. There's
I'll have to
everything.
go check it out again.
Dude, like just like go into the Marvel section of Disney Plus and like just like look at through like the entire catalog of cartoons. But the point I was getting to, they didn't render everything up to 4K.
No, not everything. It's just a
Yeah,
select few.
because from the last time we spoke about the 4K thing, I thought they rendered everything.
No, it's just like a select number. Of
It's mostly
titles.
like the princess ones.
It's like movies that they'll do. A lot
Yeah.
of Disney and Pixar's in 4K.
Yeah.
And if you have Dolby Vision, it'll do that
I just
too.
don't like it because I feel like it takes away from like the vintage.
Does it really not look that good?
No, it looks good. It
It
just
looks
doesn't
better.
look like something that was made
what's
in
an
the...
example of like a
Okay, Alice in Wonderland, right? Alice in Wonderland was made in like the 50s, I'm pretty sure, or like the 60s, if anything.
Look at a comparison video, dude. It looks so much better. It looks vintage,
1951.
but it's
yeah.
just not blurry. you
No,
know?
it doesn't look vintage at all.
It
look-
does.
No, it doesn't.
it was made in
No, it
1951.
looks pretty like shiny.
I want to try
It
and
looks very
see.
shiny.
It's really weird.
It's
What
weird.
do you mean it looks shiny?
Like, look right here, just like in the, like, look at the way she.
Look how
her
perfect
facial
she
structure.
looks.
But I feel like when you what here is showing right now is like the promo art that you can see before seeing the movie.
Yeah, go for like flip.
That's what I'm doing right now.
You have to see it in action. But I definitely
Yeah,
feel like
I'm trying to see it in
Has
action.
anyone seen like Snow White? Or
Like, that
anything?
looks vintage.
Snow White is so
you can clearly
shiny
see
now
that's an
too.
Old cartoon.
That's weird.
It just
It
so
looks
weird.
crisp.
It looks crisp, and I don't like that because
It looks different. That's the thing.
It looks crisp,
Like
and
if you see the original like 1951 one,
it just takes away from like the what I watched as a child, and I was like, oh, like this, it's Alice in Wonderland,
They have the Black Cauldron from 1985. Shout out to a great.
yeah, it looks really different.
It looks different.
Tell me that doesn't look better though. I don't understand.
It
how
does
this
not
works.
look better.
It doesn't look
I
better.
don't want it to
No,
look like that.
Yeah, I don't want
The
it to
point
look
is,
like
like,
better animation.
what we
I want it
like-
to look exactly how it did before.
What we like
because
about Disney is that this is what it is. Okay, like I don't know. Did you watch it? We're on like watching Disney movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so like what it is like it's not that like it looks. It's better animated, like the lines are crisp and I can see.
Exactly.
That's not what it's about. It's about like what you watched as a kid and like what makes you like, oh, like this is like what I watched as a kid growing up, like whatever.
That's just pandering to your nostalgia.
But a lot of
then
people
just watching these movies is penetrating
that's
your
the whole
nostalgia.
point of the
I
vault.
disagree. I feel like
No, the whole point of the vault is to do that.
no, those are genuinely good films.
That's why it's called Vault.
Like if those came out today, I would still enjoy them. Like if I was
but
I
watching.
disagree.
You wouldn't enjoy them for the same reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Be like, oh, like da do like. It's
Also-
the same reason like I enjoy Frozen, but I don't like preach Frozen from the rooftops like I preach like Sword in the Stone or like the Black Cauldron.
The point is that they're old
They're-
and they should look old.
Like you cannot like
Ooh.
there is no argument that these movies just pander to nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like the render in 4K, I don't know if it was the best decision, but like
It takes away from it. Kind of alternates it like from what it originally was. Like
I
it
feel
does
like
look
that's what
smoother and it
consumers
does
want.
look better. Like visually, it looks better. Nobody can like
Yeah, of
argue that.
course.
But at the same time, that's not the real intent that these movies are going through.
But I feel like so. Say for example, let's look at like the video game market. What's like something popular they're doing right now? They'll take old video games and they'll give it to you in 1080, and they'll call it a remaster or you know what I mean, like an HD remake. And those sell like hotcakes because it's the old game. Everybody has their old games, but nobody's playing them.
And that's why Disney Plus is selling like hotcakes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's what people want. I just don't understand why y'all prefer that old look. But I guess I kind of get.
I- okay,
I
it's
prefer
like-
that old look
it-
for my games too.
I prefer.
guess
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
just.
personal
I.
preference.
No, I think it is a preference thing.
Okay. I feel
It is
you.
a. No,
I
can
it
agree
really
on
is.
that one.
It's
Like
just
we're
because.
talking about like specifically, just giving an example real quick. Like in the PlayStation, the Uncharted games, they did the remaster.
Yeah.
I would rather play the ones in PS3.
I disagree.
It's because what
The
you.
remaster
It's
is
what
so
you
much
played at the
Uh,
time.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you
like
just like
it's
it.
because of the like. If I'm gonna buy it again as a remastered, I'm gonna buy it because of the nostalgia. Because I liked it so better, like so much the first time around.
For me, it's like okay, like I'll watch like Cowboy Bebop or something. I don't want it to look like it was made in 2019. It was made like a long time ago, and I like the way that it
But
looks.
anime does it too. Like they'll
No, I know, I
re-release,
don't like
Blu-ray
it.
disc, right?
I don't like it. Like One Piece is something you can actually see that it's been like updated.
Naruto too.
You start watching it in like the first episode that was like out in 19 whatever. It looks like it was made in 19 whatever. I don't
Like
want
the
someone to
90s
take
anime.
that and then remaster it to look how it does in
But
2019.
there's some difference.
I
Like,
enjoy how it looks regardless, but like if it was made in the time and I was there to watch it the way it was, I just prefer it to stay that way just because like that's what I associate it to. Like
I mean, what resolution?
like
are we
the
even
thing
talking about at
the
that
the
point,
way
bro?
I'm trying to interpret it, like these movies, like these Disney movies, like for the example that we're using right now, like Alice in Wonderland, there's a good comparison that you can make to like a movie like Akira, and the way that you can't digitally alter that movie to make it look like rendered up to 4K, because it will make it look different.
It will change.
And if it
I
changes
feel
the
with
integrity of the visual image, then that changes, like, especially like a movie like Akira. That movie is highly visual.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
like, for example, like these movies like
that.
Alice
Shout
in
out to
Wonderland.
animating light.
Yes, exactly. But when it comes to like these movies like Alice in Wonderland and everything, they have a very particular like Disney aesthetic that they used to have.
Like
and
that old Disney aesthetic.
that old Disney aesthetic. And like doing this render up in 4K like sort of takes away at that.
right. It's also weird watching a movie from like the 50s with 50s values and it looks like it was made in 2019.
Exactly.
I'm just like, this is a different world. It's not the same.
I guess I feel you. I see where you're coming from, but I would still say like I wouldn't say that all of the old look is gone. You can still tell that, like, you look at that and it's like, okay, it looks crisp, but it's definitely like an older movie. Just because you can tell, first of all, it's hand drawn. Like you can tell that from the
Yeah,
picture,
it's just
so-
if it's hand drawn, just like keep it looking like that. Like there's no point in changing it. It wasn't broken. People still like it. They'll still watch it.
Like
But I feel
it
like-
definitely looks like they worked on it really hard.
Yeah,
What I also
Like they
think-
went like frame by frame to
they
like
really
edit
did.
this.
It's just so crisp. And I'm
It
like,
really is crisp. Like I'm looking at like clips right now, Alice in Wonderland, and it definitely looks that way.
Yeah. And I would also say we're viewing this as people who grew up with these movies. There are a lot of people that are watching this movie for the first time, and what's a better way to view it?
I'm low key like, yeah, you like they'll watch it.
She
Like
makes a
kids,
good point.
kids will watch it. Like kids won't really know the difference because they didn't
Yeah, that's true.
watch it
And
like that.
they're not gonna sit there and be
They're
like,
not gonna be
oh,
like,
the
this is-
visual integrity of
where's
this image
Where's the
is so
film
much
grain?
better.
Yeah.
They're not gonna say that because they didn't grow up with that. But I still feel like for our generation, like I feel like we will feel stronger about it because I saw it in 2001. It looked like shit. I mean, it doesn't look like shit,
It
but
looked like shit.
It looked the way it looked, and they could have
It looked
remastered
like the way it had to look.
It looked the way it looked, and I was like, "Hey, man, I like it. Like, I can."
I feel like it looked the way it was made to look, and that's really important.
and I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
like this is like it was really like it was just done differently.
Yeah, sorry that like the 50s people didn't have their 4K rendering on point yet, but like
yeah,
This dude.
like the people in 1951 weren't like rendering everything
Yeah,
in 4K.
sorry.
This looks so much better than this, man.
no, it really doesn't.
Come on, look at that shit.
Oh no, visually, yes.
Look at this Maya.
It really
does.
doesn't.
It visually it does.
Like, this is so fucking blurry. It's pixelated, and then you have this.
First of all, I'm pretty sure they
CJ showing
recorded.
examples to
I'm pretty sure
Maya
they
on, like,
recorded
side by
the
side.
TV or whatever.
like it's lower
So
quality
it's
because of
lower
that.
quality in general because it wasn't that bad. But I also like this. Like, look how fucking saturated the colors are here.
That is beautiful. That movie is so goddamn colorful. Are you telling me you don't want those colors to pop?
Not really.
You're missing the point of Alice in Wonderland. You know nothing. You want a black and white Cheshire cat. You fucking uncultured
Somebody
swine.
come and pick
Someone
up
is
CJ.
very upset.
CJ's
CJ's
CJ,
mom, can you please pick up CJ?
yeah, Miss
Come get my
Villavasso,
man,
get your
he's
son
getting
the
a little-
fuck
He's
out of
getting
here.
a little rowdy.
He doesn't understand other people's opinions.
But
Why?
CJ does have a point.
No, he does.
It does look like a lot more visually striking. The colors look like really pretty and everything. But like also the video that CJ showed is kind of bullshit.
I
Yeah.
fucking disagree. I could look at thousands.
No, like I have the VHS tape. It does not look
Yeah,
that
it doesn't
pixelated,
look like
man.
that, bro. Like,
No, it
find
really
it.
does not look that pixelated. But yeah,
Can't
it
really
does
look-
look better. That's the point.
yeah, better isn't always better, if that makes sense.
New isn't always better.
New
That's the
isn't
point.
always better.
Want to move on to
What-
some of the
and-
originals?
And talking about new isn't always better. Let's talk about High School Musical, the musical,
is
the
not
series, the
always.
musical.
So I'm the only one who's actually seen
Better, but
High School
Hey, I
Musical.
saw the first 5 minutes of the first
Okay,
episode.
It's
Michael
not.
watched the first 5 minutes, which I don't really care about. I'm out here the only one who's actually seen High School Musical, the series.
Can
That's
we?
not something
Can you
to be
please
proud
tell
of
us
here,
about
bro.
it?
I've seen the first episode.
Didn't you see the first 2 episodes?
I saw the first one episode. CJ is a liar and you actually know this to be true. So why
CJ is actually a liar.
Why are you
He's
putting me in the
legally
question?
obligated to tell everybody.
Better,
So basically,
better.
my main thought process is, so for those of you who don't know, the plot is that they're in a high school that is the high school where High School Musical was shot at.
It's High School Musical,
So-
the musical, the
so
series.
shut up. So they're in this high school, and that's just so happens to be the high school where High School Musical was shot. And they put on a production of High School Musical, the musical, and the director of said musical was a background dancer in the original High School Musical, which is the worst pitch for a television show I have ever heard. Like, let's just rehash an old idea that already
And
exists.
just imagine a boardroom of people
Like-
from Disney Plus being like, fucking
And then on top of
genius.
that, it's so bad. Like
I got that from the acting.
it's
The acting
so,
looked kind of atrocious.
They already have a love triangle, and it's been 13 seconds.
Oh, I hate rushed. I hate
Like,
that.
rushed into the love triangle's not only already established but already cracking, and I'm like, it's been one episode.
Damn, that's like a world record
Every
for writing yourself
actor-
into a corner.
Looks 14 despite them probably being 20. I'm very excited to watch the rest of the show. I have no notes. I'm actually ecstatic to see where it goes because I want to basically like get this show taken off the air.
You want to get this show taken off Disney
By
Plus?
watching it?
No, by like telling Disney Plus that it's bad.
Because your opinions matter more than anyone else.
Like it's just not good. Like they really need to. Like I want to watch it to see if it gets better. Like that's just
You
how
know
I
it
feel.
won't.
I know
Wait,
it won't.
you
but
don't know.
let
Like
me
maybe
have
it will get
faith.
better.
Like
Maybe that's me being like overly
Yeah,
positive.
I mean, like,
but at the same time, like you're like
It's
in the first
possible.
episode. What is it like? 50 minutes?
it was like 30
minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
30
Not gonna
minutes.
make a
Oh, it's
show
not
like
gonna
that
make.
long for
Never
kids.
mind.
They can't.
I
No, it really
I
was
retract
just
my
like-
original statement.
strange for me. It felt. I mean, I'm also someone who's never seen High School Musical. So
What
never-
the fuck?
Wait, you've never. Wait. We're gonna talk about this. You've never seen the original trilogy.
No.
The original trilogy. Star Wars.
So
They like make meta jokes about only watching like the first
If-
10 minutes of like the other two, like in the show.
So if you've never watched the original 3 movies, what did you expect you're gonna get as an experience?
listen, the one thing
Like
I didn't expect
talking
out of
about
Disney Plus-
nostalgia from like Alice in Wonderland. This is purely nostalgic.
right? But I don't see the nostalgia coming through.
Yeah, because
I
you
see-
haven't seen
no,
the
but-
movies.
But I have seen enough of the movie to know why people are nostalgic of it.
So
I've just never watched it or cared about it myself.
Well, okay, well, like if
And Zac
since
Efron's
you,
hot, but he wasn't that hot back then. So I understand.
yeah, he really wasn't.
Who wasn't not hot?
Zac
Zac
Efron.
Efron
Like Zac Efron got hot when he was like 24.
in
He was
Neighbors.
a kid.
So
Yeah, but then he got like
Yeah, but so were
and
we.
then he got like fucking shredded.
He
is
did.
shredded.
Everybody
still
thought
is
he was
shredded.
hot back then.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
It,
but
it was
He looked
Troy
like
Bolton.
like a little
I was
man
more
child.
of a Corbin Blue type person.
Well, yeah.
Well, all right, what I really want to talk about though is the Lady and the Tramp remake.
Bro, why? It's so fucking weird when they render the dog to look like dogs.
I don't need more animals in 2019 that have lips that move like humans.
I don't need it.
I don't need.
Do we
Jungle
wanna-
Book
do,
did
do we
it.
want to
Jungle
talk?
Book
Get it out of here, Lion
wanna
King.
talk about Lion King?
Disney, I need you to
Disney-
stop
Shout
out
fucking
to Jon
doing
I
this.
Favreau.
don't want it. I don't.
This is okay. This
want
is a classic example of shout out to like last week's episode. LOL, like 20 minutes ago's episode.
Hey, we don't talk about that.
But like how live action, like anime, like 2D animation doesn't always need to be live action, like at all. Like I know they did it to keep up with the times, but it just was not necessary. Like I didn't really watch Lion King, but I heard it played out exactly like the 2D cartoon did. And then Jungle Book was just oddly sinister at times.
seen-
And then the baboon was just big as fuck. He was
he was.
he was huge and creepy, and he
Like an
wasn't.
Italian
He
mob.
wasn't charming.
Like the
no,
Italian
seriously, he
mob.
really was.
Mafia type
He was
shit.
mafia ass dude.
Gone
Like
ass
like
fucking orangutan.
I like that they created like a real like feeling.
I feel like
dread
just to
of-
mention.
he was scary as hell.
Just to mention, Jon Favreau directed both Lion King
All right,
and
shout
the
out
Jungle
to
Book.
Jon Favreau.
John Favreau is a good director.
Jon
I don't care
Favreau's
what
the
anybody
greatest of all
says.
time. I don't care
He
what
directed
anybody
the
says.
first Iron Man movie.
right? Yeah.
He directed Chef. He directed
Can
the
we
Avengers.
start
Did
saying
he direct
chef?
Avengers?
Jon Favreau.
You let him speak as he will.
No, he didn't direct the Avengers, but it still doesn't take away from it. I feel like the camera direction in The Lion King was great.
I haven't seen it yet.
I bet it
So I'm not
was.
speaking
Like,
on it.
Our producer just.
Our producer is making side
Does
comments.
our producer
Yeah,
have
I'm so
any
sorry.
opinion on The Lion King?
She knows. She
Our
does. She said
producer
it's
does
bad.
not like the Lion
Monica
King.
has
But
spoken.
we still stand by John
How
Favreau.
was the soundtrack, not the score, the soundtrack? Where
Of
they're
Lion
actually
King?
singing, yeah.
Listen, all I gotta
Beyonce
say
motherfucking Knowles. Is
when
that
you
not
cry,
gonna
I
take it to
Okay,
another
just because it's
level?
Beyonce doesn't mean it's great either.
I'm not gonna
And now
comment
the
on that.
Queen Bee has you on a hit list.
I don't know.
You're gonna get hate
She's been
crimed.
going downhill since
Just
she got
gonna-
back with Jay-Z.
What'd you say?
I said Beyonce. She's been going downhill since she got back with Jay-Z.
We're just
Both
gonna
of y'all are about to
we're
get
just gonna have to cut this
assassinated by the
entire
Beehive.
thing before the Beehive kills
I am.
us.
I'm not gonna comment on this. I don't want to get hate crimed.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to be attacked.
Listen.
Okay, I will say that
I
Beyonce
do
is not a good voice actor.
I do not stand by any of these
She
comments.
killed it and obsessed. You're jealous.
I don't
Voice
think Beyonce's been good
acting?
at anything since 2004.
I do not comment on anything.
Beyonce,
Wait,
yeah.
you say voice acting in general?
I said voice
Beyonce
actor.
is an angel who cannot be touched by my words nor any other man's.
Why are you such a little dick?
All right, that's a smooth transition
Oh my
into
God.
HBO and Prime. Prime.
Yo, is Succession HBO? Have y'all watched that?
I have not.
What?
What is
I wanna
Succession
watch
about?
it.
What is it called?
Succession.
I've not heard of that.
Okay.
What is that?
It's like about this man. He wants to succeed his father. It's like some real
Oh, yeah.
shisty shit. I want to watch it.
Which-
Shiesty
Shiesty.
shit. Can we talk about...
Game of Thrones?
Well, no, because I think we're on Amazon first, so...
Oh, damn it. All right, The Boys. Let's
No,
talk
let's
about it.
shut
Let's
up.
please.
Can we talk about the
I wanna-
Grand
I-
Tour first?
I just.
What the fuck
I
is
want to
the
address
big
something. Really quick.
What's up?
I would like to see it.
Okay, so my favorite director is
Edgar Wright.
no.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Wait. I think you're in the wrong room.
Marco Polo.
I think you're in the wrong room. No, my favorite TV director, Sam Esmail, is directing this new Prime show. I think it's a
What's it called?
Prime original.
Best
if
director
I'm
of all
not.
time, Alfonso Cuarón.
It's Sam Esmail.
Pretty much that's
He's
it.
directing a show called Homecoming, and I'm so excited
with
to watch
Julia
the show.
Roberts.
I have not seen this show.
With Julia
but-
Roberts.
Is she on it? Yeah, she's on it.
Oh, I want to see that. It was like a real psychological looking trailer, and
Yes.
I really love that.
But he is the director of Mr. Robot.
Oh, you
Yes.
got my attention because Mr. Robot was fucking great.
Wow,
I
you
know
have
Mr.
CJ's
Robot
attention
is
now.
produced by USA,
You say yeah.
but it's on Prime, so I want to talk about
The
it.
only way I saw it was because it was on Prime. So I'll go.
Exactly. So it's on Prime, so we're gonna talk about it.
I mean, lead actor, great job at what he does.
It's literally the best direction I've seen on TV. Period.
Really?
Period.
I'm gonna give
period.
it to Mad Men. That show is.
Mad Men
I
is
said
one of
period.
the best.
My sense final.
All right, that's gonna be the episode, everybody.
I think we actually do need to...
Shout out to Sam Esmail.
Because
That's it. That's all I had to say.
Michael's
He needs a
not
shout
going to
out.
come off of his high horse about this director being better than Alfonso Cuarón, so I think we need to end.
What has Alfonso Cuarón done?
Who is that?
He's the man who directed the third Harry Potter film.
Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah. He's also,
You know your Harry Potters.
He also
Well, Harry
directed
Potter.
Children of Men, which is one of the best movies of the past 30 years.
I have not seen it.
And he directed Roma.
Ooh,
Ooh,
nice.
a lot of Roma happening today. Sadie was
Everybody's
watching. I
watching
need to
Roma.
watch Roma. That opening scene was like really beautiful.
Not a big fan of black and white films, though.
I'm not a fan of you. You should watch Francis Ha. That's a good one too.
Francis.
Wait.
Ha. What's up?
You see, he directed Roma.
So can we talk about The Boys now? Was that an option?
So I've heard that The Boys is a very good show.
I've heard that if you haven't seen The Boys, you're living under a fucking rock like Patrick Star.
I haven't seen The Boys, but what I do understand is that Workaholics is 100% on Prime, and Workaholics is really good. So
Oh,
I mean, I've seen
Yo, did y'all know Seth Rogen was a writer on the show?
oh! I didn't know you were talking
Tell what show
about.
we're on, 'cause now we're talking about two different
It's
shows.
Alfonso Cuarón. All
The
right,
Boys.
now I get
There we
it.
go.
Yeah,
I'm taking
like, he
information
directed
that I
Roma. I
heard
was like,
previously
I
in
didn't
the
know
day.
who you were talking about, and I was like, and then you said Roma, and I was like, okay,
that's
clicked.
fine. This man doesn't connect things. Connect the dots. Connect my
Well,
dots.
you don't have to throw shade on there.
I'm gonna throw shade.
You don't have to throw shade.
I haven't seen The Man in High Castle yet, but it is definitely.
I feel like The Man in the High Castle is in everybody's watch list, and nobody. Yeah.
It's like in mine.
Is that
and
on
it's-
Prime?
Yeah.
Yes, and it looks amazing.
I need
It's
to add
always
that
looked
on my
amazing,
list.
and I haven't seen it. I haven't touched it, but I really need to get it.
Is
I mean, the
Prime
final
getting
season
yet?
comes out now, so.
I think
I
Prime
think
is
it is.
starting to come out with their own set of shows.
It took them a while. I think what
No,
will
it
really
really
put
did
them on the
take them a
map
while.
is this Lord of the Rings series. I
Okay,
feel
but
like
that hasn't come out yet.
No,
feel
what
like
put
that's
them
what I'm saying, that
what
will
put
put
them
them
on
on
the
the
map was The Boys.
was it not that Good
And,
Omen
the
show?
Marvelous
Well, The
Mrs.
Boys
Maisel.
just came out recently, like a couple months ago.
I know, but no one was really watching anything on. Well, Marvelous
Oh.
Mrs. Maisel and Fleabag were like really good.
The
Oh,
Expanse.
Cujo is on here.
What was that show called? The Tick, the Flea, that little
Yeah,
blue
they
superhero guy.
can't-
Wait, isn't that on Hulu?
I was about to start it.
That's
now
a
it's on
Hulu
H-
show, I
it's on- no, it's on
believe.
HBO. I mean,
Oh, real?
Amazon.
World?
Yeah,
Really?
I was gonna start it.
Word.
And I was like, I'm hearing really good things about it, and then
They have
bam,
the Jack
canceled after
Ryan
second
show.
season.
Really?
That Jack Ryan show's. I haven't even seen it.
Honestly, the only reason I use Prime is to watch Mr. Robot on
They have The
repeat.
Professional, which is a fantastic movie starring. some
Mr.
fantastic
Robot is on
people.
Prime.
It
Oh
is. You
my
watch it.
god! What do you know? It is.
You
Well,
guys
What?
have seen the movie The Point?
No.
The point.
You
No.
guys are uncultured.
what's the
I
point?
started watching this old
Yeah,
HBO show called Band of Brothers.
Is it good?
I heard about that.
Oh, it's switching to
Actually.
HBO now?
It's really good. It's really good. What is this guy's name?
Has anybody seen One Child Nation? It looks really interesting, but I just don't.
Is that the
There's
China
this guy who
Yeah.
plays
situation?
the protagonist in Billions. What's his name?
I feel like we're getting into a dangerous.
Damian
circle of,
Lewis.
Like, have you seen this? Have you seen?
We're
this?
just talking about how.
No.
I think it's because we're tired.
I was. Gonna,
We're
think
not
should
tired. We
talk
haven't
about
been here
one
talking
show.
about movies and TV
You're
for
right.
like 3 hours.
I have the itis. Oh shit! Crazy Rich Asians is on here. They have a lot of stuff on here.
Haven't seen it yet.
SpongeBob the SquarePants. Oh, I love this movie.
None of the viewers know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm talking about-
not even I know what you're
I'm
talking about, Maya.
Okay, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie with King Neptune and
Oh.
Goofy Goobers.
Oh.
David Hasselhoff.
Are you
Hello.
on HBO or Amazon? at this
I'm
point?
on Amazon,
I thought we had. Where
It's
are
on
we?
but
Amazon.
it's included with
No
HBO
way.
for $14.99 a month.
Oh shit! Never mind. A month?
Our worlds collide.
That's expensive.
Yeah, HBO is pretty expensive.
Does
HBO is
anybody
expensive.
Follow the Chicago Bulls.
So we're just completely giving up on the topic.
All right, I'm actually really excited for his Dark Materials and the new
I
Watchmen show.
am.
They both look really good, as well as the new season of Silicon Valley.
Okay, I've watched all of them except for his Dark Materials.
I haven't watched the last two seasons of Silicon Valley, but
Silicon Valley is picking its stuff back up with this season. Last season was It had good
Yeah.
moments, but overall, I wouldn't recommend.
it was kind of in a slump when I was watching it. But I feel like every show gets that point of stagnation,
And then
especially
they'll-
when it's like that good and that like successful.
Yeah, Mike Judge had a lot of like shit on.
I really hope they don't do that with Westworld.
Did anybody watch the?
Does anybody watch Westworld?
I love
I watched the
Westworld.
first
I tried to
Westworld
start
is
it,
an
couldn't get into
amazing
it.
series. It's
I
like
really
one of my
like
best
it.
TV shows.
That's
Really?
One
another
of my
one
favorite TV shows.
that
Sorry.
like
It really bothers me that you watch Westworld but not Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones is so much better.
You don't have to out me in here.
I'm just sorry. Like
My
then
dad's
it's-
Michael
gonna
doesn't
hear
watch Game of
this,
Thrones.
and then he's gonna call me and then be like,
they're
"Why
gonna
did
be
you
like
not?"
film for thought. This guy's uneducated.
Speaking of being uneducated, has anyone seen
We're talking
the
about TV
Chernobyl
shows, all right? We're not talking about films.
Chernobyl was great. And
I
that
haven't-
is the pinnacle of
amazing.
the
I have not
series.
seen Chernobyl yet.
It has
Yeah,
great
awesome.
direction. Like
Great
the acting
cinematography.
is fucking breathtaking.
Into your tissue.
Cinematography was
Don't take
the
all of it, though.
best on that show.
I have allergies.
Too bad.
Oh man, I remember the one thing that will never leave my mind is when I'm watching Chernobyl and
It's
the
a little
whole
thin.
meltdown just happened.
It's like the smallest piece of tissue.
Yeah, it's gonna break through. But
Hero just grabbed a piece of my tissue.
so the meltdown
Without permission.
happens,
He's fired.
and then it's like raining ash, but it kind of looks like
Is
snow.
that really how it happened? I feel like it's always really dramatized.
Oh,
like,
and with
It
like the
definitely
kids and
happens.
stuff like
The
that.
kids open their mouths and eat it.
Yes.
And I'm like, and it
Yeah.
looks so beautiful, and you're like, oh, it's like a holiday, like a Christmas movie. But like, we all know it's really happening.
we
Like,
all know it's
they're
so
about
fucked.
to die.
I saw
Oh.
an interview with
Gotta see it.
Chernobyl
I
is
saw
on
an
what,
interview with
HBO?
HBO.
Okay, I need to-
Really recommend
I'm
it.
gonna
It's
put that on my
5,
list.
8 episodes.
It's like five.
I just
or,
need
five or
it's,
six.
it needs to be something that I can watch while I'm still watching Mad Men because I need to finish that.
Yeah.
It's very
I
serious.
actually watched it while I was watching Mad Men, surprisingly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me see. It's like 6 episodes. Or
Chernobyl.
5.
Definitely thought that was one.
Never mind. It's like
I was really
4.
obsessed with like nuclear accidents and things like that for a second.
Really?
It was just really
No, it is
interesting.
5. Sorry.
They cover it very well.
I
feel
saw
like they do.
an interview with the director of the show, and he talks a lot about. I saw they have these things where they had like interviews in between the episodes, like each episode ended. They had like I watched all the promos and stuff like that because I just wanted to get like a sense of like where the crew was, and I think it was, let me check. The main point is that the director said that the reason that the protagonist like killed himself at the beginning is because he didn't want to use that as like the shocking point
Is
at
that
the
a
end.
spoiler?
No, it's literally the first thing that happens.
Oh, okay, cool.
And plus this is like history and it happened like a while back ago.
Spoiler alert! No, Maya, you just didn't read your fucking history book.
Wait, what are you talking about? I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
Wait, you weren't paying attention, but you still call it spoiler
Craig
alert?
Masson. I'm sorry.
Charles Manson?
Craig Masson.
Oh, okay.
Like Craig Masson spelled Mazin.
Okay.
No, that's actually a really interesting point.
He discussed he basically said like because in an interview they asked him like why did he decide to put that at the beginning, and he was like I didn't want to use it as a shock factor. I wanted to like be like this is something that's gonna happen, and what happens in between is what matters.
Yeah, what
like
leads up to this, you know?
yeah, it's like the journey of this guy throughout these 5 years is like what happens, and I feel like that's like it's beautiful craftsmanship in his part, like and the way that he has such a vision with storytelling because
Do you think it's
he
still
could have
ended
he
well,
could have
though?
just said it linearly, like he could have easily done it like that and it still could have had a very similar value. It still has like great cast, great cinematography and everything, but like those little things that he decided to like edit story that way, I feel like really benefited the project
That is interesting.
because it didn't give him like that shock factor at the end.
Didn't make it cliche.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. I agree with that. Yeah, I stand by that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Chernobyl, great. What show should we talk about on Game of Thrones? 'Cause there's a bunch of shows on there. Watchmen. Has
So-
anybody else seen it yet or not yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't have HBO, dude.
You gotta
Yeah,
watch
HBO's
it.
a little expensive.
HBO's a little expensive. How much is it a month?
For a good reason. I think it's like $14.99.
Do you have an
14 a
HBO
month?
account?
No, I use my friend's.
Oh, okay, I was about to
Oh,
say.
that's
Yeah,
why.
he's my
Yeah.
friends too. I was watching Barry, which I really like.
Barry. How the fuck did I forget Barry?
Yeah,
that is one of the best.
But
shows
I
on
just really
TV.
like Bill Hader.
Bill Hader
as a
kills it.
person.
His acting range has gone
Range,
up
facial
so much.
expressions.
Facial expressions especially.
He's just really good at what he does.
You've got to
very
see
good.
Barry, even if you got to pirate that shit.
You gotta meet that man.
You've
Sorry,
got
Bill
to see
Hader.
that.
We're about to
shit.
get- we're
Just
about to get
let
sued.
All films of Film for Thought fans know
We don't pirate.
we don't pirate.
That's
We don't
that is literally
pirate.
just CJ pirating off of his home. We're gonna provide the address and the link below, so the cops can find him pirating
Right?
movies.
I'm gonna go home and that's gonna be shut off.
Be blacklisted. Your IP address is gonna be blacklisted.
But yeah, so
But-
Barry's basically about this actor who's like a bounty hunter who wants to become an actor, which is obviously that interesting. Like, because those two worlds don't mesh. As a bounty hunter, you got to stay like in the dark, and as an actor, you're literally in the spotlight. And I feel like the premise of that alone is just captivating, right? Like, how the fuck will he balance that?
In this essay, I will.
Maya,
I really like
No,
the show.
I do. I've seen like some of the promos and stuff for Barry, and
Really
I really,
good.
it looks really
I
good.
love
and
like a dark comedy, you know?
do
That's what
do
they
you know
do
who's
well.
writing it?
huh?
Do you know who's writing
I
it?
thought Bill Hader did.
Bill Hader, I think, is
Let me
helping.
check.
With
I
the
know he
writing.
directed some episodes. I know he's the main star, but I don't know if he's writing it.
I didn't know he directed.
I believe so, or did he just create it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, written by Bill Hader.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
making sure.
All right, so if it's written by him, I do
Dude, like,
give him the
this dude
benefit
really
of the
just
doubt.
took over, and it's just like his thing, and it's really
Yeah,
I
no.
feel like that's gotten really popular, like currently.
one person taking over the whole project.
Yeah, it's like
writing-
Yes.
one vision, and like because in movies that is the way. Like you have the
Get out.
director, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like that single person is like responsible for the aesthetic of the entire film. Everybody like speaks to him. Everybody else is in charge
And the
of
story.
like logistics and stuff like that, and like story and everything. But in TV, it's like
You have
it's a lot.
writers.
Yeah, it's normally who stay on is just the writers, and then the director just like keeps rotating. But the only thing that really stays the same is like the crew and like the writers and stuff like that, just to have that consistent feel. But when it comes to like the shows I really like from TV, like Mr. Robot, like Sam Esmail like writes and directs like since season 2 every episode. And like it's really much his personal aesthetic and his personal like way of direction, and
It's a
I feel
very
like that's
niche
getting a lot
show,
more
too.
popular.
Mr.
You know,
Robot.
It is.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not niche, but it's like a very specific type of show with a very specific type of character, where very specific things happen. Like it's clearly like someone's vision, and it's like, oh
Yeah,
And it's funny you bring that up because there are a lot of people are attributing the failure of the last season of Game of Thrones to what you're talking about. Because apparently what happened is each episode was written by a different team. And that's why
Really?
the whole last season
that
felt
sounds like a
disjointed.
terrible.
It sounds like a train wreck,
Yeah,
actually.
and that's what it was. And that's why everybody hated it. And they're like, why? would
Especially
you do
because what
this?
made the show so good was that for so long they had
I feel like
consistent
the-
cast.
Right.
I feel like the production wasn't like
And
on
crew.
it. Like that Starbucks cup,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
what
but like the
fuck?
scoring was still great. Cinematography even was still good, except for like that one. The one where they
talk down on the cinematography. I don't want to hear it.
Cinematography was great all the way through.
The shot where she walks down the steps in the last episode,
Yes.
Conquering Queen, and the dragon
Yes.
opens its wings behind her. I don't care what anybody says. That show was wrapped perfectly. Game of Thrones is the greatest show of all time.
Are you fucking with me
Nobody
right
can
now?
touch it. The last season was fucking exceptionally done. Like,
You're fucking with
y'all
me.
are fooling.
You're fucking with me.
Y'all are fooling.
You're fucking with me
You
here.
just
You're being a
don't see
troll
the
right
plot.
now.
You don't
Hero's
see the
about to be
plot.
fired.
You're being a troll, right?
I'm kidding.
Nah, that show. People who have a problem with like how.
Did you read the books, Hero?
No.
Okay.
People who have a problem with like how the story like unfolds.
No, I have no problem with how the
Don't
story unfolds. I have a problem with how they rushed everything into
It's like you were saying last
couple
episode.
of
It's like
seasons.
the endpoints weren't a problem. Like her turning to the Mad Queen makes sense.
No,
Like,
that
but
was
they
fine.
rushed it.
She was
They-
supposed to do
They
that.
absolutely rushed it.
I don't like the rushness.
How else were they gonna do
The
it?
conclusion of the show was fine.
The conclusion of the show.
The
was not
last
fine.
episode blew everybody, but I honestly it made the most sense to me. Like
Yeah,
what?
it
Like it only makes sense. She's-
Bran being king because he has the best story. That's fucking.
Oh,
bullshit.
no.
Bran being king because he's the like they literally like,
Bran
say
being
it.
king
It's like
is-
he's
he's
king
the-
because he's the only one in the entire kingdom who has no desire to be so.
You think that's what it is?
It
Yeah,
makes sense. It's
But
a
he
game.
said like this is what was supposed to happen all along.
Right.
I mean,
So
he's the
you
three eyed, right? Like, okay, we could talk about how Bran is annoying as the 3-eyed raven because he really fucking was so pretentious and annoying as
He had
hell.
no personality.
He had no personality, but he's the raven. He's not supposed to have any personality. And
I mean, but
so,
even
like,
what happened with what was her name, like Moira or whatever, the girl that brought him back from the wall.
yeah, well, he's the raven, so it's too bad, I guess.
Pretty much.
But there were so many things that were fucked up. Like, who was the Night King?
No,
The Night King?
Yes, who was he? What was the whole thing about that?
I don't think anything was wrong with the show. They just rushed it and then didn't they didn't like elaborate because they didn't have time.
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's
feel
what
like
was wrong.
There's nothing
It's
wrong with
always-
what direction the show went into because I think that was the direction it was supposed to go into from the beginning. Like I'm pretty sure because you have to consult with like the author and be like, is this okay?
I feel like
Yeah.
we can refer back to what
also-
what Hero was saying last episode about when we were talking about Stranger Things. When it comes down to like a show, it's really different from the way that you'd write a movie because a movie is like it's very linear the way you can think about it and you can go like a lot of different ways, but at the same time it's like it's 2 hours, that's it. But for a show, and especially a show like Game of Thrones, like it's an hour each, so that's 8 hours and you have to fill the entirety of it up. But like more than that, like it gets renovated again and again and again, and you have to keep trying to make sure that you get to like point A to point B, and at the same time maintain that same sense of consistency and like fluidity.
I
Right.
see what you're saying, but Game of Thrones actually has the opposite problem of what y'all were talking about with Stranger Things, where they kind of dragged it out. Game of Thrones rushed it, so it's the exact opposite. They got to point A to point B in like way too fast. So instead of being like from point A to point B, they got from point A to point F. It never covered what happened in between.
The other thing about Game of Thrones is that like they literally could never have ever made us happy.
I
It's
disagree.
impossible for them to take a show that started out with the first 3 seasons and finish it in
George
the
R. R.
next.
Martin looked like he was gonna fucking kill himself
Like,
between
there's
the
no
last seasons.
way
Like
to do it. That show was perfect.
It was
can't-
not, dude.
It was perfect.
You cannot say that definitively. There's no way you can objectively say that in your heart of
seasons
hearts.
1 through 4
Like
are
that show was
perfect.
incredible.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Right.
Right.
So that mean for me the show is perfect.
Why?
Because you can't pay off. You can't like have some writers sit down in the tail end of 2009 and have them be like, "All right, we're going to make the most epic like fantasy dark twisted like television show and we're going to like pull no punches and we're going to have it be like raw to the bone and then have them write for 7-8 years straight and have it be like the same thing that it was." It's never going to be like perfect. They were never going to give us 100% satisfying ending. So what I like is that they ended it at a point where everything felt like, okay, we've gotten from point A to point B. Our characters have gone through this, and like I feel like if they'd drawn it out to 10 seasons, like the impact of some of the things that happened in the earlier seasons would have disappeared.
I disagree.
The impact of the fact that like John was like murdered would have like disappeared. The impact of the Red Wedding would have like because you have to also think about how the time works in the show. I don't know. I think like maybe one more season, but anything more than one more season would have been too much.
I mean, first of all, like this show ended prematurely strictly due to like D&D just abandoning the project. This was not something that was intended. Like they were like, I think HBO wanted them to go up to like I think 10 plus seasons, and they said like no. And then they're like, okay, well, can we at least do a full season? They said no, and that's why you get 10 episodes per season. Season 7's like I think 8 or 7.
6.
No, season 7, not season 8.
Oh yeah, season 7.
I think it's like 8.
It's like 8, and then the next one is like
It's
6.
like 6.
Yeah.
They're giving up on the project
No,
because they got
I
news
think
from
they just
Disney.
ran out of gas.
No, dude, they got news from Disney that said we want you to work on the Star Wars trilogy, and so they end the project, and then you hear the big news: they're going to work with Star Wars on the next trilogy of Star Wars with Disney, and now they're not because Netflix gave them more money. You can't trust these.
I agree
dudes.
with Hero though. Like it's when it comes down to these like monumental series like Game of Thrones, like I feel like the same thing's happening with Mr. Robot. Originally they were gonna have 5 seasons, and then they like I think like either the studio or Sam Esmail came to the conclusion like to cut it down to 4, and I feel like that like even though I love that show personally, a lot of people do. I feel like it's the end is never gonna be satisfying to
But I disagree
nobody.
because Breaking Bad is the biggest show on TV and had a great ending.
But Breaking Bad is a show that wrote itself an ending.
Exactly.
Okay, Breaking Bad is a show about a man who sells meth to support his family because he's dying of cancer.
Right.
That's writing itself a beginning, a middle, and an end instantaneously in
How?
the writer room. Because you know this man is going to be diagnosed with cancer. He's going to need money. He's going to turn to meth because he's a chemistry teacher. And then you know there's going to be blah, 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 blah seasons of him dealing with meth and also
Becoming like a drug lord.
becoming a big drug lord and dealing with the repercussions of being affected by cancer. And then he will die and leave his money to his children. You know exactly how the story plays out. So all they have to do is fill in the details. The problem is in Game of Thrones, they knew the first 3, 4, 5 seasons of material, and then they had to write themselves out of a corner.
No, it was more like George R. R. Martin gave them where they needed to end.
George R. R.
gave
Martin-
them up until season 5, and then season 6, 7, and 8 are written from the writers.
No, but yeah, it's written from them, but he says here's how the books are going to end. You need to match these endings. How you get there is up to you.
They don't match them.
That's what happened, though.
But the books haven't been written.
I know.
Is
George
that-
R. R. Martin said, here's how I'm going to end them,
I know.
and I want you to match those endings.
No,
But
that's
how-
exactly what
it's-
the problem is.
That's
Like,
exactly
do you
the
get it though?
What?
That's the problem because the thing with like Breaking Bad is like start to finish it's planned out. Like One Piece, start to finish it's already planned out. You're just getting there.
Okay.
And so with Game of Thrones, it's like start to middle was planned out and like planned out. You know, like it's in the you have source material, you have like how it happens, and then you can like skew from that and like kind of change it. But you have like the bones of what you need. Whereas after season 5 or whatever, like he has points that he wants you to hit. How you get up to it is entirely up to you. And then that's season 5 is and 6 is like right around the time when like there was just like small inconsistencies with the characters, like what is his name?
What does he do?
Tyrion.
Oh.
Tyrion started to like kind of like start to fuck up, and like it just was completely different if you like look back season 1, how smart and like how put together everything was with him and his character, and like he just started to like kind of branch out. Same thing with Daenerys. There's no problem with the fact that Daenerys is becoming the Mad Queen. There's really no problem with that.
Right. I also saw it coming in the way.
We all saw it coming. She
Right.
said, "I will take what I want with like blood and fire." So it's like, yeah, we knew. The problem was just like you have like these short little episodes, and like it's all squeezed in due to whatever, and so like it's not fleshed out. It's
Right.
not that you didn't see it coming, because you did. It's just like it just wasn't fleshed out, and it wasn't like filled out. But regardless, like people were more upset. They weren't really upset about how rushed it was. They were more upset with the fact that Daenerys burned down.
I disagree. I feel like most people agree with exactly what you said. They saw the Mad Queen coming. They just didn't.
No.
justify
I
it.
was there on Twitter the night it happened.
I was on Reddit.
I was
feel
on
we're just on
Twitter.
Two different.
It was the same
audiences.
situation. I mean, this same situation. There was a lot of people who were mad, a general, about how it ended, because they were like, no, like, you know, Cersei should have died this way, and like Daenerys didn't need to do this, and that didn't make any sense.
My argument is like, I can't tell you how to end it, but as long as it's justified, then it makes sense. But a lot of that
Right,
shit
which
was
I
not.
think what Game of Thrones did was they tried to justify given the time that they were given, because it's like if you're
But the
told,
thing is, it wasn't the time they were given; it was the time they chose to take.
no, this is the writers.
They killed people in a way that was perfect, and only
That's bullshit.
No,
You
I'm
know
saying
that.
They could
we're
see it
saying
like
that it's
that.
perfect for
You
like
know that's no way that's
given the
the way that Cersei dies is perfect.
How?
I would have it no other
Given
way.
Cersei did nothing that
Because
last
that's
season.
her entire character.
She does
her-
everything. She's
No,
cunning as hell.
her
She
ent-
beat Littlefinger.
Right, but her entire character.
the girls are fighting.
The entire show, the whole time, is I'm incestuously in love with my brother, and it's the only thing I care about. It's the only thing that drives me forward.
No,
Is
she
the
loved her
fact-
kids.
No, not after.
No,
her-
she didn't love her
Literally,
kids.
she did it.
The lion
After
loved the
her
lioness
kids-
loves her little cub.
After her kids died.
No.
the only
Her
thing
kids
she
were
cares
just an
about-
extension of her. She didn't really love these
Yeah,
kids.
Like,
High key.
How
the
can you
only thing
say
she
that?
cares about is
Because she
kids.
didn't.
I feel like you guys are mischaracterizing Cersei now.
No,
she's
we're
using-
not. She really did. I think they
Like-
explained it actually. Like she doesn't love her kids. She just like they're an extension of her, and they're what she has with Jamie, and like that's what it's like their possession. She doesn't really like have this motherly, because she's a very selfish woman. She doesn't really have much of anything. She just has Jamie. If anyone she loves, it's Jamie, and that's it.
Trying to reel it back in from the Game of Thrones direct discussion.
The way that I think about it, I'll say this and then I'll let you reel it back in. The way that I think about it is that every character in that show, because it's a character dialogue developed show, like the action is very much not what trudges the story through the mud. It's the way the characters interact with each other and the decisions they make on behalf of those relationships that get the story from point A to point
Right.
B. So in my mind, when that story ends, it should be when those characters fully realize exactly who they are and exactly because you have to remember, like,
This is a
not
very
2019.
wise take
These are
from Hero.
very simple characters living in a time that is super cut and dry. So the fact that Daenerys, when it comes down to it, the only thing she actually wants and believes in is to be a conqueror, and like the only thing that like Jon Snow believes in is family and like protecting the realm. Like all of those things get flushed out in those 30 minutes. The only thing Cersei believes in is being wrapped in Jaime's arms when she dies.
She
That's
said
the
that
only-
since the first season.
That's the only thing
She's
she's
on-
ever wanted.
She's only ever said it's me and you. That's
You guys
all
don't feel like it's the Iron Throne?
no, I
No,
feel like the
she's-
Iron Throne doesn't matter, and that's why it gets melted.
That's the point of the Game of
Iron
Thrones.
Throne never mattered.
No, the point is that the Iron Throne is all everybody cared about, and it corrupted them. So they had
Wait,
to
no.
melt it because that was the only way
Wait,
to
that's
break the
wait,
wheel.
that's actually just not the story. Because actually, okay, I will let you reel it back in.
you guys are just objectively wrong.
No, we're not, because the point of the Game of Thrones is that like there's this throne that everyone is just so obsessed with, but at the end of the day, it represents nothing. It means nothing. And the fucking dragon melted because it was like, bro, like this is ridiculous.
And like the whole thing with it's like 1,000 swords, but then the offhanded line with Littlefinger's like it's actually like 67. It's a meaningless object.
Right.
And people have been chasing this like
I don't think
thing.
it's meaningless. I think it's
People-
a metaphor for power.
People have been chasing. It is a metaphor for
Yeah,
power.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Power
People
is
have been
everything.
chasing. People have been chasing
But
this
power
like
isn't
throne. It's only they say it's made out of 1,000 swords. It's only made out of like 67. It's like there's all. It's just like an icon that people have wanted, and then like when they get it, like they're not even happy, and then it didn't change. Like
You look
Cersei
this way.
still was just like, bro, like I have this. My kids are dead, but at the end of the fucking day, like Jamie.
Yeah, and like Bran, the reason.
How do you say that? Like she fucked Euron. It was about to have a baby
she fucked
with him.
Euron
But
because
to protect Jamie
How was that to
Literally.
protect
has
him?
nothing to do
because
with
Euron
throne.
was gonna kill Jamie. Euron's whole thing was he wanted to kill Jamie and take his place.
When?
The whole time. That's why they fight on the beach.
Euron just wanted the throne.
No, Euron wanted the throne through
Cersei.
through being Euron and like taking his power the way that he wants to take it.
I think Euron wanted the throne through Cersei, so he impregnated her.
I think that the most important thing in the entire show is the fact that Bran didn't want anything, and that's why he.
That's why he got it. That's why he won.
Because he never wanted a thing, ever. He was
So
never even
why
given the
would
capability.
anybody in the kingdom follow Bran?
Yo, guys.
That's
Well,
thing
he's
he
the
was
three-eyed raven.
But who the fuck cares about that? Think about that. He comes back to Winterfell, and
We-
they don't even understand Bran. But we're supposed to expect that people from like Dorne
Bro,
would listen to
all
Bran.
right,
Nobody cares
all right.
about Dorne.
It's one of the kingdoms.
Dorne
I don't
wasn't
care
in
about
the. Dorne left the fucking
Okay.
king.
Like,
Y'all are wrong.
I'm not.
You told me all the deaths were justified, all that shit.
Every
I
single
watched Jorah
Okay,
run out into
Jorah
the
Mormont's
darkness.
death. Jorah
Thank
Mormont's
you for
death.
went
joining
to
us,
Dothraki,
everybody.
and came back
I
alive.
don't want to hear it.
The only one.
we're
Jorah
wrapping
Mormont's
up.
death is perfect. The only thing he ever
Thank
cared
you,
about
Hero,
was
CJ,
protecting
and
the-
Maya for joining us.
Sure.
Last 10
It was a
minutes.
mistake to bring up Game of Thrones.
I didn't know that this dude had the most ignorant opinion in all of
All
the
right.
kingdom.
See you guys later. Cut.
Cut.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our third episode of Film for Thought. I'd just like to give a special thanks to our artist, Sergio Diaz. You can follow him on Instagram at the Slurpee Art Portfolio, and to our composer, Samuel Beal. You can follow him at Samuel Beal. And special thanks to our producer, Monica Vega, and our sound mixer, DJ. So, yeah, thank you for listening to our third episode. And please tune in next week for another edition. Thank you.